Coach Deborah has a passion and purpose to assist young men, ages 15 to 24, to overcome obstacles and build their best lives. She wants to see every young man live out their potential. She has a master's degree in human services counseling, with a major in life coaching. More importantly, she is the mother of 3 boys, who are exceptional, educated, professional men. Coach Deborah believes it is better to train early, rather than need to fix later. She utilizes basic principles and God-led concepts. Sometimes the only thing a young man has is their credibility or their name. The actions they take are based on the decisions they make. Those decisions align with their choices and result in consequences. Coach Deborah can assist you if you are lost, floundering, or confused. Embrace the help and start building your best life today.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Build Your Best Life. We're excited to have you here today. So welcome, welcome, Cynthia. So glad to have you back on.
Thank you. I'm excited to be back on.
Great. I see we have Deacon Holmes on. How are you this evening? Hi, Dan. Thank you both for tuning in. We are finishing out this month strong. You know, this month we have been reaching out for solid education. I'm trying to get this echo out of my ear. I guess you wonder what I'm doing. So I cannot believe it's almost at the end of the month, but it has been a great month. We've had so many great topics this month. So we want to try to go out with a bang. And I was kind of like leery with this topic that I have. You know, educators can make or break a student. But those who know me know that I am a strong advocate of educators. So it can't be bad. It has to be something that's good. So we're going to go with that. So you will see where we are going with this when we get started. But make sure you come on in, like, comment, and share. We love to get comments. And if you have questions, we'll try to answer those to the best of our abilities. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube page, please make sure that you do that, because like today, the weather so far is pretty good, but some areas weather may be a little rainy or whatever. We're looking for the storm here. So, you know, you can always rely on one or the other, YouTube or Facebook. So Linda, welcome back. Welcome back again. Let's say that. But it's always a pleasure to have you on here. You are such a sweet young lady. I love it. I love everything that you're doing. But can you please tell our guests what you have going on?
Yes, hi. I am Cynthia Ferguson. I am from Dallas, Texas. I am a mother. I am a mentor. I am a school medic. And I am the founder of a young girls group. It's called the Wolfettes. We are coming up on our 10-year anniversary. And I am the owner of Courageous Conqueror, which is an empowerment and life coaching. And I'm so excited to be back with Deborah. I appreciate every opportunity you give me, Deborah, and I don't take it for granted. And I love your topics, and I love what you stand for with these young men. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, everyone does not have the skills and the character to work in their chosen profession. Sometimes people, just say, "Oh, this might be a good place to get a job," or they'll, luck may have it that that's the only job available. I don't know sometimes, but the lack of specific skills in a particular job can make a difference in excellence and inferiority. Now, imagine, if you will, having the wrong skills in the following positions: customer service, how those phone calls. Dentist. Just think about a dentist. You're already in fear and looking for pain, and you get a dentist and they have no demeanor, just doing what they got to do. A fast food employee, just playing. A public speaker that has a great message, but they don't have any skill in doing that. And even an educator. The difference in the right skills and character versus the wrong skills may be good customer experience versus just canceling your account. Just forget it. I don't want the business anymore. Or no qualms about visiting your dentist versus fears, late visits, just putting it off. It's time to go for that clean, but you just like, no, I'm not doing it. Having a good meal fixed correctly with a smile versus a lousy experience or reluctance, and just say, "Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I like the food, but I'm not going there anymore." Valuable information delivered outstandingly versus, "Where did that come from? Why are they doing this?" A great learning experience with a committed, intuitive instructor versus someone who provides the least amount of instruction. They're curt with you, they're hostile, and not easy to communicate with. Well, educators, in my opinion, are the lifeline to the future. However, not everybody is up to the challenge because, we have excellent educators. But just like all other professions, sometimes someone might get into that slot that we wonder, how did they get there? So, Cynthia, as an educator, you know firsthand the life of an educator on a daily basis. There can be days with no hiccups, and then everything can just go wrong on other days. Still, educators must put the students' best interests at the forefront. Now, since I'm not an educator, I'm not in the education field, that's my perspective, and I could be wrong. But from your point of view, whether it's a good day or not so good day, should the teacher's number one priority be the student's well-being?
Although we know we have to take care of ourselves to be able to take care of others, we've heard that many times and time again. Self-care, it is important. But to answer your question, yes, when you come on your campus, your main priority should be your students. And I say that because think about it. Us as adults, we may have a bad morning, and it affects us. Imagine a child who's coming in who we don't know their home life. Maybe they didn't have food. Maybe they didn't have breakfast. Maybe mom yelled at them, because they were running late. Maybe they're homeless. We don't know their situation. So we need to make sure at all times that we put them first. Our main priority here is to make sure that we have a safe environment for them, that we give them the education they need, and that we are there to guide them, just like we do our own children. It's up to us. It's not just the education. That is, of course, what schools are for and based on. But we have to make sure that they are okay, well-being wise, make sure that they are safe, that they feel safe at school and comfortable. So yes, in an all-around way, yes, that is the priority. The child should be the priority. That is my personal opinion. I know many other educators who feel that way. But yes, I think always that student should be priority.
Okay. Well, thank you. I think we have Rebecca Denise is watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Agnes Copeland. How are you, Agnes? Thank you for tuning in. We're talking about educators can make or break a student. All right. During this month of reaching out for solid education, we received examples of educators who did not act on behalf of the students' well-being. They went out of their way to ridicule and taunt a student due to a disability. And one of these we talked about, one of our speakers during the educational symposium, and they had an experience where they had a little disability, and not only was the educator, their teacher, rude and cruel to them, but if the other students did not make fun of this child, the teacher would get on to them.
Wow,
So,
that is horrible.
yeah, so we never know.
Wow.
So during your tenure, have you ever encountered a teacher who was doing something that was unethical, being biased, or negatively treating a student? And if so, what did you do? If not, what would you do in one of these circumstances?
Wow. I've been with this school for going on 12 years. And my very first year, because I had never worked in a school, my very first year, I was on campus and I saw something that made me uncomfortable. And it was it was a male teacher, and it involved a young, I can't remember, kinder or first grade, a young male. And it was just the interaction of, you could hear the anger, because I always think there's a way that you can talk to children to get the point across. Do I know that sometimes kids can be a handful? Absolutely. We who have children know what they can do. But it was the way that he yelled at him. And it was, you have a tall person and you have a little person and you're looking down at them. Just imagine the intimidation you feel. And then to hear a strong voice. And it bothered me so much that I left my office. I went straight to the principal's office and I let him know of the situation, that it bothered me enough, that because the little boy ended up crying. And so it was handled. I know that it was handled because the principal came back and told me he talked with the situation. He got it under control. And that's, of course, the extent that he could tell me, because that's confidential information with the teacher. But I have seen it. And I have seen it not only in my school, but I can remember visiting other schools when my kids were in school. You get a child that is I want to say, quote, that child that everybody knows, because year after year, he's gotten into trouble. And then he has good times, and then he has trouble again. And it's unfortunately that they are labeled. Right. And it carries on. And to me, that's a form of bullying, when you have a student that has issues and he's labeled or she's labeled from year to year, because every day should be a fresh day for a student. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And when you have it carry on from year to year, where you have one teacher telling another teacher the next year, oh, you have that student, that's bullying. Everybody should be able to form their own opinion. You know what? It could have been the student. It could have been the teacher.
Right.
It could have been the combination. You're not always going to jive with everybody. Even as humans, we don't always agree, or we don't always meet eye to eye. But there is a respect factor, not only from the children to the educator, but from the educator to the child as well. So yes, I've seen it. And it's unfortunate that it does happen. And sometimes I don't think that they think that it's bullying, or they think that it's ridiculing a child, or that they think that it's affecting them. They just know that, oh, here comes that problem child. And then they may tell them, okay, you had this situation. tomorrow's a fresh day. I hear this all the time. Not just, I'm not saying just in my school. I hear it all the time.
Mm.
It's a fresh day tomorrow. But when your actions are different from your words, how can a child feel comfortable of starting over? Because a child is a child. They're going to think, oh, I have a fresh day today, whether they mess up or not.
All right.
But that teacher is not showing them it's a fresh day. They're holding it above them. So, yes. And had I not ever experienced it, would I speak out? Absolutely. It is up to us. We teach our kids, see something, say something. It's the same for adults, the exact same for adults. See something, say something. Because if that were your child, you would want somebody to say something. You wouldn't want your own personal child to be experiencing that or doing that or going through that. So yes, that's a tough one because a lot of times we don't want to so-called tell, like the kids say, I don't want to be a snitch. I don't want to, tell my friend. And it's hard because you work with people, but we're adults. When you come on as an educator or in any field, you know that priority in education is going to be there for that kid, for their education, for their safety here, to make them feel safe and to protect them while they're on campus.
Yes, and that can be really, really scary because I had a situation when I was working, and I had a new, well, my boss was a director. She retired, and they didn't replace her. So then that meant that I had to report to the vice president, who was new in the department, and he didn't know me. And he had to give me my review that my director had prepared and left. Well, when I go in the room for him to do it, he leans across the desk, and he's probably was like 6'4", 6'5", real big. And at the time, I didn't know it. He was a lawyer by profession. But he leaned across that table and he began to yell and hit on the table and say, why do you think you should deserve more than a 3? Because we could be scored from 1 to 5. And it was like, I know how I felt as an adult. So I can imagine a child and you have an adult standing over you with a rough voice.
I mean, it's intimidating.
Yes.
It is. We were taught, we have wonderful counselors and wonderful people that always told us, yes, you're going to have situations, but put yourself in that situation. You can get your point across. You can even have a little stern voice, but standing over a child is so intimidating. And I'm speaking about the younger children, even our teens, kind of get down to their level where you see eye to eye, just like you said, with your experience, you have somebody coming up like this on you. It's intimidating, and you can freeze up. And then what? We want our kids to tell us things that are going on. They freeze up.
All right. Yeah, scary. Well, last week, as a matter of fact, I was going to say recently, but it was last week. We had a situation here in actually in my city, Jacksonville, Florida, where a child she has cerebral palsy, and she has to use her wheelchair to get all around in school wherever she goes. Well, on this particular day, she was not allowed to use her wheelchair for anything. They made her get from one place to the other without the wheelchair. They even had a fire drill that day. She had to try to get, away from the building without her wheelchair. And it says she became so tired and fatigued that the next day she couldn't go to school. And unfortunately, it was a sub for the day, but still, I would think, maybe common sense would kind of play into that, even if you were new to the situation. So, like I said, although this teacher was a sub, was there not a better way that she could have handled the situation with the child?
Absolutely. There's always a better way. Well, first of all, when you see, because not all disabilities you can see, and I hate the word disability, but for purposes now, of speaking, you can't always see disabilities. Some are physical, some are not. Like that one was physical. That to me, that was downright cruel. That was unacceptable. Um, I know that there were probably consequences to what happened, but think about her, that student, and other students that have mental disabilities, or even now, they have emotional disabilities. They have anxiety, all these different things that are going on, and you can't see it. I think when it comes to subs, there should always be somebody to say, hey, these are a couple of your students that, you need to know about, that it may be simple. This one has to go to the restroom, at this time every day, or this one needs to go to the clinic every day, or, whatever it is. I think it's a responsibility of whoever is bringing them in, whether it be the front office, whether it be another teacher, whether it be somebody who's taken that sub to the classroom, to educate them and let them know, here's a list, here's your students. These are the ones that have, either accommodations or disabilities or whatever. If you need help, let me know. The same rules, though, go for a sub, because when you sign up to be a sub in a school, you still have to perform and do the same thing as a teacher. It's your responsibility. Ultimately, it's your responsibility. That just makes me so sad to hear about that situation. It's just downright cruel. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah, it was
cruel.
heartbreaking. Yeah,
Oh, no. Same rules apply.
yeah, makes sense.
Yes. Yes.
Well, like I said, I love educators. And so educators to me are necessary for the future of the world. Without educators, who's going to educate everyone? So you would think that our educators would be treated and compensated at a very high level. Yet a lot of times that classrooms have too many students. They don't have all the tools and supplies that they need. If they have to go out and purchase things for themselves, maybe they can't afford it.
Mhm.
So if they don't, then, they don't have what they need to do. They may want to be more creative, but if they don't have the tools, then they can't do that, of course. And I did a study recently and found out there are so many that are underpaid. Yet they pride themselves in being the best that they can be, get up, prepare lessons, and they are genuinely essential workers. In my book, educators are essential workers. So I applaud them uh, every time I get an opportunity on this show. However, as with any other profession, some don't necessarily fit the bill of a good educator. So, I don't want anybody to think, oh, she's over there beat up on educators. No, 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 that's not my intent. But I just want to say, educators are people just like everybody else. So, Cynthia, so what do you think? What is the best recourse for students and parents when a particular instructor is taunting a child, like I mentioned earlier? They're
Mhm.
bullying a student, they're showing bias, or they're doing something that is unethical. What is the best way to get that handled?
Right, right. I agree with you as far as educators. I work in a school, and I'm going to tell you, I always said I could not be a teacher in a classroom. That takes a special kind of person, a very special kind of person, and they are truly, truly underpaid. Teachers are truly underpaid, and I agree with you. They are essential workers. They are.
Yes.
But to get back to your question, I when you first hear that question, as a parent, you want to say, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this and I'm going to say this. We're, the mother bear, the mother lion, the mother. You just want to be the mother. But you need to make sure that you're doing it a proper way, because you don't want to get in trouble behind something as well. I would say that a parent has the right to let the educator know how it's affecting their child and how that comes back home. We have to listen to all sides of a story, because as well as I do, a child's story is perceived different than an adult story. You just have to listen to everything to make sure that you get all sides of a story before jumping the gun, because as parents, here comes little Timmy home. It's like Timmy says, the teacher hit me. Well, you're gonna get riled up and say, well, let's go. I'm gonna go up to the school when in reality, yes, the student may have got hit, but they were playing soccer in gym and the teacher kicked the ball or accidentally bumped into him when, lining up. So yes, the teacher may have hit Timmy, but it wasn't an intentional, it was a bump or something. So we have to get all sides of the stories to make sure that it's true. But if something were really going on, it's definitely, you have to notify somebody about it. You can ask for a parent conference and talk to them to find out what happened and try to resolve it there. Whether it is, it could be as simple as they're just not doing their work. And I say simple, that's not simple because that's what they're there for. Document everything. My suggestion, and I've always done that, is document everything, because a conversation has never happened. If it's not documented, it never happens.
That's right.
Never. It's just, everything needs to be documented. So email, ask for parent conferences, notify somebody higher up in administration if nothing is being resolved. If you can't get it resolved, you have to know that you as a parent have the right to speak up, have the right to know about your child. If my child is doing something wrong, I want to know. If my child is doing something good, I want to know.
That's right.
It's not just one way. So it's definitely, you want, like I said, documentation is the biggest thing at that part. You have to be able to speak up and let them know that you are aware of a situation and that you are always going to be your child's advocate, but you also want to be their advocate to your child. It works both ways. A parent is kind of, I look at it like a mediator. My child, of course, I'm going to be mama bear over, but I want my child to have a good education. And if you have a good relationship on both sides and they know that you're there, that you're going to support them, and your child knows that you're supporting them and you're going to be there watching over them, then it makes things a lot easier. And I think that it could probably help alleviate some of the situations that happen, because that relationship is what's really going to make a difference. If a teacher knows, or an educator in any area knows that I can call Miss Ferguson, Timmy is acting out. Can I get your support? This is what he did. This is what the consequences are going to be. How can I get you to support me with it? It makes a difference. It makes a difference.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
When my youngest son was, I think he was in 3rd grade, and I just happened to walk into his class this particular day because I didn't have to go to work. And then his teacher was like, well, what's wrong with him? So I said, what do you mean what's wrong with him? Well, something's wrong with him. What do you mean something's wrong with him? He falls out of his chair. I said, what do you mean he falls out of his chair? He's just sitting in his chair and then he falls on the floor. And one day, you remember the day he ran into the fire extinguisher? So, okay, he just wasn't watching where he was going. I said, but tell him to come here a second, and I got it. So I talked to him. I said, I don't know why you falling out your chair. Do we need to take a trip out to the van? No, ma'am. I said, okay, fall out your chair again. Because there was nothing wrong with him. Yeah, I guess he was getting giggles or whatever. But she didn't let it go at that. She kept saying, but something's wrong with him. I said, what do you mean something's wrong with him? She said, well, he acts like my brother. My brother has epilepsy. And I was like, what?
Oh.
So, of course,
Oh, no.
I went to the principal and everything. And we talked, and I wanted him moved because I was like, why would she even say such a thing? But he was like, oh, well, we don't have any more openings and da-da-da-da-da-da. But I talked with my son, and he was clueless. I said, was she mean to you? Did she yell at you? Did she treat you different? No. So as long as he was fine, I was fine. But, it's like you say, it's just a way to do everything. And you have those conversations that you need to have. But, it can get interesting.
It can. and uh, knowing both sides as a parent and then as an educator as well, it's the educator is looking at everybody and looking this way at all the children, and they may see something like you said, that teacher was like, well, my brother did, I noticed some similar traits. um it's easy. I mean, she shouldn't have maybe said that, but maybe brought it up in a different, softer version. Like, I noticed him falling out of a chair. Is there something going on with him that maybe we should know about so we can try to help him or something? But it is, and of course, kids, if they know they're going to get a reaction, they're going to do it. I mean, even as adults, we know what buttons to push. We know who we can get a reaction out of. We know the ones that we don't even mess with. So,
Right.
yeah. And, you want to make sure that a child definitely knows that they can come to somebody and say something, and feel safe by saying it. And of course, their family. But I guess it goes back to the importance of the relationship with a parent and a teacher and that student, to know that there is that safe relationship, that if something did happen, that they can come home and say, mom or dad, this happened, or teacher, this is happening at home. It works both ways.
All right. Yeah, and and the other flip side of that, I think, is, if she did sincerely think something was wrong with him, because it could have been, why would you not contact me? Why would you wait? And then I just happened to stop by your classroom, you know?
Right. True. True. Yeah. If there's a big concern, I would have been on the phone saying, Miss Smith, is there
You need
something that, we can help you with or something?
Right.
Maybe that was the nice way of her trying to say, he's acting up, but she didn't want to come out and say he's acting up. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He didn't fall out of chair anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, it resolved that one. Oh my goodness.
All right. So, I believe in, like you said earlier, you have to know both sides. You need to know the entire story. You just don't deal one side with, one side of a situation. So also, sometimes students can be troublesome. You have bullies or whatever. So what is the best recourse for that educator if they have a student that they're having issues with?
It's again, it always comes back to documentation. The educator needs to make sure that they always document situations, so that way when they do have their parent conferences or take it to their administration, they have documentation of it. I know a lot of times that you document, you call home, you document again. After so many, they go to maybe the principal's office and stuff like that. So again, it goes back to documentation, but we don't know why that student is troublesome, and that's the thing, is that you want to get to it. Are they acting out because they can't see? So therefore, to get away from everybody else knowing, oh, I really can't see, or I can't read, they're going to deviate away from there and do this or do that to take the focus off of them. Is it something going on in home life? Is it a past trauma that they just can't get over? We don't know what has happened to that child majority of the time. We don't know if they just are seeking attention that they're not getting at home. There's just lots of reasons why they could be troublesome. And then, of course, you just have some of the children that just, hey, I just want to push buttons, and I like to push buttons. But it's important that it's definitely documented, and I think it's important that these students know that you're not a bad child, because I have heard it. I've heard parents say, why are you acting bad? Why do you want to be so bad at school? And you don't want to, I'm a believer that you don't speak that into somebody, but there's a different way of saying it. You can say, you know what, the decisions that you're making today are not right. The decision is a bad decision, how can we figure out a way? But just to come out and just say, you're a bad child, you're this, you're that. I just, I, I don't like hearing that. Have I done it before in the past when I was a new parent growing up, and something happened, and then I realized, what, I can't speak those words. I need to come up with a better way to speak to them and let them know you're making bad choices. You're not bad, but the choices you make are bad, and they're going to bring bad consequences.
That's good.
Yeah.
It is good. Well, thank everybody for tuning in. I hope you are getting some great tips, information that will help you as you deal with your student and educators, and understanding both sides of the scenario, and what can be helpful if you run into any issues. Cynthia, please give us, and it doesn't have to be 5, but I'm going to say 5, 5 suggestions for handling an instructor that they feel is mistreating them in any way, and also give our parents tips on doing their part to ensure that their child's behavior is conducive to learning, because we want everyone to be supported as our students strive for their futures and building their best lives. So it needs to be well-rounded.
Yes, it does. It has to be. It has to be, because I don't think it would work if you don't have it well-rounded, and if you don't have the understanding between a parent and a teacher and an educator. But a couple of things for students. I think it's important that the student get to know their teacher, because there's different styles of teaching. During passing periods, if they're at the age where they go to different classes throughout the day, what teacher A, the way that style is, it could be totally different than the next style. And it's important that these students get to know their teacher and get to know their style, and know that their expectations in the classroom. I think that's really important, because if you don't know your teacher, because it's easy to be standoffish, especially when you get to a certain age where they're transitioning from little kid to middle school. You want to be a big kid, but yet you still want to be a little kid. And so it's hard. So they're fighting with, how they feel, and especially among their peers, that they want to be the tough kid, or the kid that, I'm not going to take anything, or even the one that is just like, I don't want to say anything, I'm very timid. Any way it goes, they need to get to know their teacher. Another one is, if the student, especially when you get a little older, you have the right to speak up for yourself, but you have to remember that it has to be in a respectful manner. You have the right to say, Mrs. Smith, I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with it. Let's talk about it. Now, does a student usually do that? No. They want to say that, but it comes out as like, Mrs. Smith, I'm not going to do that. Why do you want me to do that? Why do I need to do that? Da, 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 da. All this stuff. But I in my girls group, I always teach the girls, you have a right to speak up for yourself, but remember, it has to be done in a respectful manner.
That's right.
And it has to be done where you're going to try to get something resolved. Don't just come at it being a smart aleck, like, well, what do you expect me to do? Because that's totally different than, Ms. Smith, how can you help me? What do you want me to do to get through this, or to understand you? So that's another one. I think that a student needs to be very comfortable, if there is a situation, that they make sure to talk to their parent about the situation when necessary. A lot of kids just blow off, what happened at the school, thinking, oh, my parent won't ever find out. And a lot of times they don't find out, because it wasn't serious enough at that point for a parent conference. But if they don't talk to their parent about it, and a student will push their limits a little bit more, eventually it could get to that point that it's going to cause a parent conference, or hopefully not even worse. So students have the right. They need to pay attention to class expectations. I think a student really needs to know, and this works both ways, because the teacher, they set their expectations and they need to stick with them, so that the student knows these are the expectations when I come in Miss Smith's class. These are the expectations when I come in Miss Ferguson's class, and they're set. They know that if they deviate away from those expectations, that there can be consequences. And of course, that's taught at a young age growing up. Is it always easy to keep them at that, when they start getting older? No, but they still need to know that there is an expectation.
All right.
As far as for parents, some things that parents are doing to ensure that their child's behavior is in a good, conducive learning. Parents need to have meaningful conversations with their child about the rules and about expectations, not only at home, but, like me, I would tell my children, we have rules here at home. They have rules at school. Mm-hmm. You may not always agree with these rules, but rules are rules, because if you can't follow the simplest rules, whether you like them or not, at home, in your home life, at school, when you so-called grow up and get out in the real world, there are rules there that are called laws. And if you deviate away from there, there are real consequences that are not sitting in your room in timeout.
That's right.
Yes. Another tip for a parent is, if there is a situation, request conferences with your teachers and have all parties involved. Have the child in there so they can know. Now, let me back up some. It depends on the situation. If it's something more serious that you don't want the child involved in, that they don't need to be around a teacher, then that's different. But if at all possible, have the child there so they see that mom and dad are working with Miss Smith, and Miss Smith is working with mom and dad to try to get us, get me, because the main goal ultimately is for that student on both sides. It has to be for that student. Another one for parents is, ask your scholar, and it goes back to meaningful conversations. Ask your scholar on a daily basis, how was school? Be specific. Don't let them just answer, it was okay, it was good. Be specific, get more information from them, find out what they're doing. How was math? What'd you learn today in math? Oh, how was science? Did y'all do a science experience? Tell me about it. What story did you read? Tell me a little bit about the story. Have the parents get involved, because then a student knows, oh, when I get home, mom's going to ask me or dad's going to ask me about it. So I need to be able to pay attention at school so I can then tell mom what we worked on or what I did. Right. Don't just accept it was okay, it was a good day, it was a bad day. Right. And then definitely a parent should be active in their child's education, and they need to be their advocate. Whether it's in the classroom, whether it's being there for them in sports, in outside activities, in band, in music, whatever. I think being active in your child's education, one fashion or form, is a huge difference. Huge difference. No fault of anybody's. I grew up in a time where my mom and dad worked, and I played sports from first grade up to 12th grade, and I didn't have the support because my parents were always working. And I told this story not too long ago. My parents never came to one of my soccer games, not one. And at that time, you don't really think so much about it. But as an adult, I knew that I was going to change something different. And my boys growing up, when they were in sports, in spelling bees, in whatever, science fairs, whatever, we were there for them for every event. I'm sure there were times that they thought, when are y'all going to stay home and leave us alone? But I wanted to change that. I wanted them to know, first of all, I wanted my children to know that I'm there for their support, but I also wanted the educators in the school to know I'm there, and I've got their back, but I'm involved parent that I will help you and guide you as well. So it's important. That's one of the big important things. And I understand nowadays, we can't always make it. Make it to one a month. Schedule time to be there for your children. Make sure you call the school and schedule your time with the teacher if you need it. Just be involved, and then have rules at home. If they're doing something good, have a positive reward system for them, just like you want at school. It's not always about, Timmy had a bad day, Timmy did this, Timmy did that. I'd like to get a phone call saying, hey, Timmy had a wonderful day. He made 100 on this test. He did,
Right.
Parents can ask the teacher, hey, let me know not just the bad times, but the good times. Let me know when they've had it. Let's focus on the good behavior, because I think once you start and a child hears it, oh, my teacher is going to call my mom if I did this, it starts building up their self-esteem a little more. They start getting, you go from this to you start seeing them like this, and you may even see grades starting to go up because of the positive reinforcement and the positive feedback that you're giving mom and dad. Therefore, you have positive feedback at school. And then when you get home, you can have positive rewards as well. So I think those are some things that could be good on both sides. And, I tried it, I did it, and I saw a difference in my own children's, we always think back, well, we could have done more, but you know what? It does make a difference, because you see it day in and day out. I see it day in and day out. Kids that come in that are being dropped off in the drop-off line, that mom is yelling at them as they're getting out, and they're walking in with big tears down their eyes, and it makes a difference in their day, as opposed to the other parent that is just, I love you, I will see you later, I'll be here at this time. It's a difference. It's a difference.
Those are great, but it really does make a difference. I tried to do the same as you, because my parents, they didn't participate when I was doing things in school. But my kids, I tried to, and it was like, he was the one, a lot of times, he was the only one with the parent. And so I would pick up and give the other kids rides or whatever. But, sometimes they'll say, well, it's okay. It's, when they, I guess, when you say you can't do something, oh, it's okay. But they're looking around just hoping, So it does make a difference. Just like my grandson, he plays football, and it's like, okay, be expected to go to the game this weekend because his parents going to be gone, so he need our support. So guess what? We gonna be out there to support him. Make sure he has someone in his corner cheering for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. So yes, thank you for the comments, Carol. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Peggy, for tuning in. But this has been a great conversation. So see, it wasn't a beat up on anybody conversation, but it just goes to show that it matters. Like Carol says, your words matter. So it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. It's a way to say and do everything. And because someone is on the receiving end of your looks, your words, and your actions. And so you want those things to be positive, because you don't want to be the cause of somebody having a bad day. And, it would be really horrible if you ended up being the straw that broke the camel's back, or that person already having a horrible day, and you said something mean or out of character to them, and it pushed them over the edge,
Yep.
Yeah. So I think
so true.
We can all, make that effort to do a little bit better, because I think we can all do better. So, sometimes I have to pop myself, well, you could have said that a little bit differently. So thank you so much for this conversation, and thank everybody for tuning in. Now, if you didn't get the entire conversation, you got to go back and check it out, because I think that it was very worth the time that Cynthia and I spent talking about this topic, because it is to help our children to do better in the space that they're in, as well as our parents, things that they can or shouldn't do to assist, and educators as well. So, it takes that village. And so we want everybody to be doing the same thing. So that means students, we need you cooperating, doing what you need to do, speaking up, as Cynthia said, but do so in a respectful manner. Because we all have things that we don't want to do, or we think, why is she telling me to do that? You may have really misunderstood the, question of what you're being asked to do anyway. So it's okay to ask questions, and you need to start now because it doesn't get any easier as you get older, because even if you own your own business, you're going to have to deal with your customers. So it is what it is. What's this Carol said? They love to see you in that stand. Yes, they do. They do. All right. So please, to make sure that you tune in Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our last topic on reaching out for solid education. It is going to be catering in 2023. Catering in 2023. And we're not talking about food either. So make sure that you tune in and join us as we talk about that. And I can't wait until next week. It's another theme. For September, we're going to be reaching out to close the gap, And what that entails is we have a lot of things that are going on with everybody. World is changing, technology is changing, things are happening as far as we still have people doing things that they shouldn't do, initiating kids into gangs. We just had a shooter come from one county to our county in Duval County and killed 3 people. Never did anything to him, but he just hated people and he wanted to do something about it. So, but what can we do differently? What can we do as we talk to our children? Because sometimes we ask our children not to do this, not to do that. Don't go anywhere with that person. But it's like in one ear and out the other because they don't understand why we're saying it. So we need to figure out how we can communicate better and close that gap. So they'll want to listen. And not only that, but they'll want to talk with us, even when we don't ask the questions. Hey, there's something going on and I really need to talk with you. So make sure that you tune in the month of September for that. And Cynthia, I know you are doing things with girls and you're probably doing something new since the last time you were here. So you want to tell everybody how you are assisting our young people.
Absolutely. I do have my young girls group. We are coming up on our 10th anniversary. We have expanded from 6th grade to 12th grade. A few years ago, we added 3rd through 5th grade. Last year, we added kinder through 2nd grade. And this year, we're at pre-K. So with our girls group, now we are from pre-K 4 all the way up to 12th grade. We teach them about self-worth, to know their worth, what their value is, confidence boosting, body image, teach them about conversations and proper conversations, etiquette, just all kinds of stuff. But since then, I have actually started my own empowerment coaching and life coaching business, which is called Courageous Conqueror, because you have to be courageous to conquer whatever is going on. But you have to be a conqueror to be courageous enough to go do it. So with that being said, I am building off of that, focusing a lot on right now, because back in the school year, focusing a lot on getting my girls group back up and running for the new school year. And but it's going to be starting to be funneled through my Courageous Conqueror. So my my vision and my goal is to one day have this program in schools nationwide,
Yes.
churches nationwide, because our young ladies need to know their worth. At by all means, they need to know their worth, and they need to know that if they put their mind to it, they can do anything. We've heard that time and time again, but our young ladies need to know that they are worth taking the time to get what they want out of life. So, and I can be reached at courageousconqueror.com. And I'm just excited. I'm excited where God is guiding me. And, I've prayed about a lot of things. And I finally, when I decided to take my heels out of the ground after he's, pushing me, things are happening faster than I could have ever imagined. And I can't wait to see where we go from here. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'm excited that I just had last week or the week before, my girls group had a write-up in one of our local magazines here in Dallas. And so I'm just, I'm excited about it. It's Courageous Conqueror.
Okay.
Not plural. Uh-huh.
Oh, ask, did I spell it right?
COURAG. You got it? Courageous Conqueror. CONQUEROR.com. CourageousConqueror.com.
Is that it?
Courageous Conqueror. CONQUEROR.
Okay. Okay. The first word, the second word.
The second word is CONQUEROR.
I think I got it right this time. If not, I'm gonna give up. Is that right?
Well, no, it's not, but
It's CONQU.
E.
Okay. EROR.com.
No O. No O. After E, it's an ROR. CONQUEROR. All righty. CourageousConqueror.com. That is it. QUEROR.
Y'all check out Cynthia because she, I know, is doing wonderful things. And, our girls have to know that they are worth something and how they deserve to be treated. So
Yes.
like we keep saying, we're going to get together. We're going to do it. Hopefully
We're going to do it
this year.
Yes, we need to make it happen.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. And make sure you check out my website, excuse me, www.buildyourbestlife.org. Check out my calendar of events, my blog that comes out at 10 on Mondays. And then check out my store so you can see the services that I offer, which is coaching, consultation, speaking, webinar speaking. And you can get a copy of my book, Build Your Best Life. Build Your Best Life. It's about your life, your actions, and your credibility, overcoming obstacles to build your best life. So you can get them from my store, get your autographed copy. If you like the Kindle version, check out Amazon.com. But again, thank you all so very much for tuning in. And I know here people, I was surprised that we had as many people because I know everybody's getting prepared for the hurricane. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And especially I appreciate you. Seems like anytime I ask, you're always willing to come on. So I really greatly appreciate it. Okay.
I appreciate you.
Okay. And can you see that? You want to read it?
I do. Rebecca, maybe Courageous Conqueror should expand to older women as well. For me, all females should feel worthy no matter the age, as life can take its toll. And that's the good thing about Courageous Conqueror, because it's not limited to the school. my wolfettes through the school is limited to the school. But Courageous Conqueror is for all ages. So, Rebecca, we will talk. Definitely.
All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great. And hi, Rebecca. Thank you for tuning in. So thank you so much. And so hope that's another set of women that you can assist and help. So it's been a great day.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. I appreciate you all the time. I appreciate your opportunities all the time. I don't take it for granted. I'm continually learning. I'm learning from you and learning from everybody around me. And I truly, truly appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Ooh, Rebecca says, woohoo! She is ready. All right. I love it.
Love it. Love it.
Yes. All right. Thank you all so much. Remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan. It's our commitment. I love you. Be safe out there, everybody. Stay in like they ask you to do. If you're here in Jacksonville, in Florida, and anywhere in Georgia that the storm is heading, be careful, everyone. And I hope to see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.